G'day guys, it's almost 13 weeks, not 13, it's almost 3 weeks since Lisa and I bought our latest project on the beaches of Brisbane, and we thought we'd give you a bit of an update today on what we've been up to over the last couple of weeks together.
Yeah.
As per usual, Lisa's doing all the fun stuff and I'm getting stuck with the painful, boring stuff, but that's sort of what we both specialise in.
That's right.
So, Lise, what have you sort of been up to over that couple of week time?
Well, first of all, we got our plans back from the builder. So we have been combing through the plans and just making sure that it's exactly what we want, you know, just tweaking them to make bedrooms bigger and al frescoes bigger. You need to pay a lot of attention to that to make sure it's going to flow nice as well, you know, the walk through the house and what you're going to see when you walk in the front door. So we've been working a lot on that, but we've got it down pat now. Hey, it looks awesome.
Stoked with how it's looking now, at least $100,000 more than I was expecting to pay. But I think for the long-term quality of the area, it's what we need to be doing right now.
Yeah, and it's also like very private because it's a dual occupancy. So there's going to be two sets of people living in there. It's just so private from one another, which is really important to me. And then from there, I made an appointment. I've been down with the builder and been doing the colour selection, which is basically where you go down and you select all of your finishes. So you go through your paint, your tiling, you know, everything that you need to do all your finishes for your house. So that's been really exciting. We've also been kind of upgrading a few things because they give you a standard range and then you build on it from there. So we've kind of had long chats about what we wanted to upgrade.
So I think we've decided on upgrading the ceiling heights downstairs in the granny flat as well as the double-storey home.
Yeah.
What else did we decide that we're going to do that was different?
Initially, we wanted to do like timber look tiles and flow them from inside to out.
But super expensive.
So expensive. They're like, you might as well just do real timber. So we've kind of compromised and gone middle of the road and we're doing just nice big 600 by 600 tiles. We've also
decided to tile the al fresco area too, so it feels a lot bigger in the living area and creates this big open living, dining, kitchen onto a big outdoor entertaining space that flows once you open up the big doors that we're putting in.
Yeah. And also we just did a couple of like really minor upgrades in the kitchen. By not having any handles on the kitchen, it just makes it look so much more seamless. So it's not a huge expense to do that. And I just think it makes it, you know, jump up a level.
I think we decided to put in some high quality like Sir Walter buffalo grass just so it's really hardy.
Yeah.
And some extra money towards just some garden beds. I think what we learned from our Airbnb last year is that when you make a place look fresh from a design perspective outside, not just inside, you attract a much higher quality of tenant and it rents much, much faster.
Yeah. So it's really just like 4 or 5 upgrades from their standard range and it just is going to make it look so much more premium. It'll just set you apart from every other house that's on the market, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like we want to create that feeling of trendy, cool, but vanilla enough that everybody loves it.
Yeah.
But we want to do that on a budget. So it's a big home. It's ended up being 367 square meters.
Yeah.
So it's a huge living space downstairs with all the bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs on the 4-bedroom home and then a 2-bedroom granny flat next to it.
Yeah, the 4-bedroom's huge, hey?
It's a big home.
And the 2-bedroom, because, you know, obviously we're limited by how big we can make the 2-bedroom, we've just made the al fresco huge for them.
So you can only legally do a 55 square metre 2-bedroom place internally, but they don't measure the al fresco. So we've put on like a nice big roof line and I think almost 20 square metres of deck out there to make it feel like much, much bigger than it really is.
Yeah, and we're going to run the same tiles internal and externally. So it'll just, once the doors open, it'll just feel like one big space.
In terms of what I've been doing, once Lisa gets the design together, it's then my job to go and work out a price with the builder, which is kind of stressful just because we had to do it on such a short deadline because we're obviously borrowing money from the bank to do it. We had to like get that HIA contract in place within about 7 days. So that was pretty intense, but that's been done. I've also been working with the demo company and it's going to cost us $24,000 to knock it over and to get rid of all the asbestos fencing that's on the site. So I've been going back and forth this week with them because the It had energy plugged in on site, which I had to give my approval to disconnect. But that looks like it's all going through now. So that'll happen basically as soon as the property's ready and legally ours, so that we can just get building on it as soon as possible and start getting some money back. Also been going through the process with the banks for loans. Because we run our own business, we hadn't submitted our 2018-19 financial year returns yet. So I've been with the accountant in the last week and a half and doing all the Excel spreadsheets for our properties so that I could give them everything they need. And Lisa and I just signed off on all that stuff on Monday. So that's cool. We've also been working with the solicitor to push the finance period back because we couldn't meet the 3-week time frame that we had. We've had to extend it by about another week and a half. So lots of like stuff going on behind the scenes as well. But you know, that's just all part of this journey. You've got to sort of jump through those hoops and do what you need to do.
Yeah, just one step at a time. Hey, you just kind of focus on what you need to do next and then keep moving forward.
For sure.
So my next step is I have to meet with the cabinet maker and I'll go through in like fine detail all of the cabinetry, which is pretty
like
cool.
The kitchen, the bathrooms, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully the bathrooms are stock on this one, actually.
They are. They're like standard, but they had a really nice standard range. You could pick the actual finishes on it, which is cool.
Did I see something about like some really cool black tapware? Like, is that the standard range or is that something that your dad...
No, you can get the black tapware, but because it's more of like, I guess coastal feels, I felt like the black would be a bit jarring on this one because it's not, maybe if it was more of an inner city kind of vibe. But because it's on the beaches, I wanted it to feel like light and bright and stuff like that.
Let's talk about like the property from the street, because we're doing some things that we've learned from previous properties. Like if I could just build brick properties, that's what I would do because there's so much lower maintenance to maintain in terms of cladding, rendering and painting, but they don't look the way that Queenslanders like to see their properties. So what have you done from the street in terms of the way that it's going to look and feel? And then as we walk through it, like talk about the overarching vibe and colours you've chose to sort of make it have that coastal Hamptons quality vibe.
Yeah, so it's the front is a mix of render and just like weatherboard cladding, which is kind of what you see on the old Queenslanders where the timber kind of overlaps each other. And then I've just done a mix of a lot of white and then kind of like a medium grey and then a tiny bit of like darker grey just to kind of give it contrast, because sometimes if you see a house from the front and it's too much of one colour, it just looks very bland. So
is it white roof, white gutters, white windows, or is that the light greys?
Yeah, no, that's all the white.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So it's going to feel very fresh, I think, when you walk in,
Awesome.
like and from the street view.
And then like we've got these big beautiful tiles onto this like nice big open living kitchen dining area. Like what's the vibe that you've gone for internally?
I just wanted it to feel open and bright. So it's almost like a concrete look tile, but in a really light. And I didn't go for those real like silvery greys this time. It has a bit of warmth in it. And then in the kitchen, it's mostly white cabinetry with a white bench top that has a bit of a fleck. It's a stone. And then we've done kind of like a timber look laminate for the overheads just to add a bit more kind of warmth in it. All the walls are just nice and white and bright. The blinds I've gone for like a bit of a warmer colour, not a white, because I think it'll last longer.
Like a grey type thing or something?
Yeah, it's almost like a taupe colour. Like it's not super grey. It's got a bit of warmth in it. I really feel like the trend at the moment, it's moving towards away from the greys a bit, like more like Mediterranean kind of feeling. Lots of natural elements and natural textures. A lot of like matte finishes. I feel like we're kind of almost moving out of the grey zone, finally. It's been a long time. Yeah.
No, it's cool. Like I'm really excited. You know, in every relationship or partnership when it comes to property investing, there's generally one person that does the really creative, like emotional, fun side of designing it and picking things and making it, adding value to the property through that. And that is so important. Like I just value what Lisa does so much. And then there's, you know, the person like myself that does a bit more of the talking to solicitors and accountants and the financial side of it and picking the right suburb and making sure the fundamentals make sense and buying the home at the best price.
Yeah.
And I think the combination of skills if you're investing with a partner will make you so much stronger. And if you are investing on your own, then recognizing which of those skills you have and remembering that if, you know, you're highly analytical like me and you're just looking at it as a business, you're going to buy a great property, but it's not going to get the highest rent return, and you're not going to be thinking about the mum and dad living it in the future or buying it from you. Where if you're like highly on the softer side of things and making sure that it feels right, then making sure that you double check your due diligence, you have all of the right people around you, like solicitors, builders, town planners, property managers, to protect you from yourself, so that you don't just jump into something based on gut feel and then recognize that you're overpaying because you fell in love with it as well.
Yeah, and I guess if your strengths are more like Ben's strengths, which is kind of like the more what would you say, like the detailed side of it things, you know, maybe you need to, if there's someone in your circle of friends or family that are better with like colours and colour selections and things like that, I mean, you could always just recruit them and ask them to help you for the day, you know? You know,
there's a lot of incredible interior designers out there that can help you just pick the stuff and then you can project manage it after you've picked it.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, or vice versa, like you can help other people around you with that softer stuff as well. So I think like the beautiful thing about investing is there's no one way. Yes, we are buying at the bottom of a market in Brisbane. We're buying in a suburb that has really done nothing in the last 12 years, that has so much potential. Like our friend's own property on that street worth $1 million that we just bought for. We're going to be in it for just under $800,000 ourselves. You know, that's an area that's gentrifying and improving. So it ticks those fundamentals, but what we've learned from previous properties is when you buy the cheapest property in the cheapest street in the cheapest part of a suburb and a much smaller place, sometimes that can have a long-term effect on your rent return and capital gains. So I'm trying this time round to make sure I tick all the boxes, just not mine, or not just leases. And I think because of that, we'll have a much better outcome.
For sure, yeah.
I'm excited to bring you guys updates. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and really appreciate your time today.